Samsung is not just a company that spends $11.2 billion to make Apple parody sketches. They also make pretty damn good tanks, toilet seats, and phones. And this Samsung S10 Plus is no exception. It was announced in February 20th along with S10, S10e, S10 5G and Fold during their 10th year anniversary celebration of their Galaxy phone, which was released 9 years ago in June 2009. This elegant beauty has a 7nm processor, more storage, more RAM, more pixels, more cameras, a hole for your cell phone butt plug, and an ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner. So as a person who loved Note 8 and 9, I wonder, is S10 Plus any good? Samsung S10 Plus comes in this nicely designed box with an ugly tape at the back. Inside the top part of the box we get some papers and a key to the world's most insecure lock. In the box we get S10 Plus itself. Underneath it we're greeted with 15-watt charger. Did you hear that, Tim Apple? A fast charger that comes with the phone. Then a USB to USB-C dongle, and you can use that with your MacBook as well, a USB-C cable, and finally AKG headphones that looks like it's about to tell me to get swifty any second. As we all know, what makes a smartphone the best is the way it sizzles. So it's time for the sizzle test. Oof, hashtag Sizzlegate. But let's see the front. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Sadly, that's the screen protector film that I just peeled. If you buy one, don't peel it. S10 Plus looks gorgeous. It is light and it has Gorilla Glass 6 on the front and 5 at the back. One thing that rubs me the wrong way is that the ports and holes are not aligned, like Note 9 or iPhone XR. I don't know why Samsung don't care about this on a phone that costs up to $1,600. The camera bump seems to be a little nippier than Note 9, and I guess the frame of that camera area is made from waffles because it got damaged pretty badly when the phone tipped over during beauty shots. When it comes to benchmarks, S10 Plus gets higher scores in Geekbench CPU tests compared to Note 9 and Pixel 3 XL. But sadly, in the compute test, S10 Plus gets the lowest score, which doesn't look right. It may be caused by a bug in the benchmark test app. When we look at the graphic bench test, once again S10 Plus is ahead of Note 9 and Pixel 3 XL. When it comes to game launching times that changes with every update, S10 Plus takes the longest to launch Fortnite, but it is 1 second faster than Note 9 when it comes to PUBG. If you like to export a 2.41GB movie file in Adobe Clips, S10 Plus finishes the task in 20 minutes and 17 seconds. Well, Android is not MOV friendly, so let's switch to MP4. When I export even a bigger file, a 3.76GB MP4 file, S10 Plus shows its true power and finishes the task in 6 minutes and 2 seconds. This is more than 2 minutes faster than Note 9. By the way, Samsung, let me show you how to make proper fun of Apple. What did Tim Cook say to DJ Khaled? You're folding it wrong. Samsung took the hideous notch, and by leaving this tiny top part as screen, they made this actually really cute. I mean, just look how Google failed at this. By the way, nothing fancy is happening here as well. It's just two front-facing cameras. Nothing like that Kinect we have on top of iPhone X series. Samsung managed to make this cute. This looks nothing like a notch. It is not that disturbing, and people reacted. They started creating wallpapers to go with it. Maybe this is the first time this kind of a hole in the screen is welcomed this way. It also has tap to wake, raise to wake, and it has more Loca glue between the screen components. And the HDR10 Plus display is just gorgeous. I mean, the details you see in this screen is just outstanding. Look at all the details you see in the shadows. A regular phone without HDR10 Plus screen displays them as darkness. Okay, that first one was actually iPhone XR, which doesn't even have HDR. Shh. It's okay, I will not tell anyone. Actually, joking aside, yes, the screen looks stunning, but so are the others. S10 takes control of the screen brightness while you're watching HDR10 videos. It literally becomes passive, you cannot change it. Unless that's a bug, I think I know the reason why. See, besides the burning, OLED screens also have a problem with flickering, because in order to dim an OLED screen, the screen turns on and off really fast. This is also known as PWM, pulse width modulation. Also, if you think you cannot see the flickering screen with bare eyes, just dim the screen brightness below 50% and just wave. One of the best features of S10 and S10 Plus is ultrasonic in-display fingerprint scanner. It is not the best, but it is very impressive. Just works like that. Now, I figured that what matters to make this work properly, 90% is in the way you scan your finger. If you scan your finger properly, most of the time, it just works without any problem. But I also realized most of the time when it doesn't work, it is the times that my phone was on sleep for a while. Let's say it's been sitting on the desk for a while, I go and grab it, and then when I try to turn it on, sometimes we don't like each other very much. I only wish it was at the same place with the home button, not a little above it, because sometimes you're just tapping on it to make it work and then you suddenly tap on an icon. Just like Note 9, you can add up to 4 fingerprints, and it is definitely the future. It's only gonna get better from here. Now, the face recognition is the most impressive face recognition I've ever seen on a Samsung phone. Yes, when the fast face recognition is turned on, you can just hold a video of yourself to it and it unlocks immediately. Samsung knows this too, and it warns you about how easily this can be fooled because S10 Plus doesn't have the iris scanner, and this is not a complicated face scanning system like what we have on iPhone. So what you need to do is immediately go into your settings and turn faster recognition off. I don't know why it comes as turned on by default, but even when it is turned off, when you're wearing a hat, it unlocks. On the table, it is almost as good as the iPhone. It is very impressive. And you can hold it sideways, it unlocks. You can hold it upside down, it unlocks. iPhone cannot unlock when you hold it sideways or upside down because we're saving it for iPhone 11. When it comes to the cameras, S10 Plus has 5 of them for every occasion. It can shoot HDR10 Plus videos or regular videos up to 4K 60 frames per second with rear, 4K 30 frames per second with front-facing camera. For 24 frames per second, you have to download a third-party app, but finally it doesn't have the 10-minute 4K video recording limit. So, yay! When it comes to the videos, S10 Plus is not joking around. It can shoot HDR10 Plus videos, which is pretty impressive. Compared to the other guys, they are so close to each other. I feel like at this point you can just pick the one you like best. But then again, for a device that has octa-core 7nm processor and 8GB of RAM, it has some limitations that I think you should know. For this one, I'm gonna slow down the video for you to see it better. While switching between lenses, the footage freezes for a split second and then abruptly S10 Plus switches the lenses. There is no transition, just jumps to the next lens for some reason. The footage gets paused long enough to make it look cheap. In comparison, iPhone just jumps between lenses with a nice transition, and it doesn't lose any time, if I may say so. When I perform burp the baby test by tapping on the mount where these phones are attached to see how good optical image stabilization will perform, for example when you mount these phones on a gimbal or in a car, apart from Pixel 3 XL, the rest performs almost identical. Now let's compare the microphone quality and electronic image stabilization. I'm walking carefully. Not too carefully, but carefully. I'm gonna shake the camera to see what happens when it's facing down. Let's run. The winner here seems to be the S10 Plus, but at what cost? When we look at the same frame from that run, you can see that the footage coming out of S10 Plus is very muddy and it seems like it has a lot more crop. This is where things get mildly interesting. Also, you'll be hearing the untouched audio recorded by the camera labeled at top left. Now when electronic image stabilization is turned on, there's a crop in your video. It cuts off from the corners to compensate for the shakeage, if you will. iPhone cuts out 9%, but at the same time you cannot turn off electronic image stabilization on iPhone unless you use a different app. So if you use Filmic Pro, for example, you can turn off electronic image stabilization. Optical image stabilization stays on. Same thing goes for the other phones as well. On S10 Plus we have 16% crop when electronic image stabilization is turned on, but you can turn it off in Samsung's own menu. Note 9 has 17% crop and Pixel has 20% crop. Yeah, without computational photography, Pixel's camera is, I think, a little miserable. Samsung S10 Plus's front-facing camera, we're shooting in 4K, but we have a problem. Yeah, the rolling shutter problem. But just like the face unlock and just like the barrel distortion we have at the wide-angle lens, Samsung S10 Plus comes with its own solution built into the phone. As you may or may not know, rolling shutter is actually easy to fix. And now the video stabilization is turned off. And now I'm going to turn it on. Now it's on. As you can see, we're cropped in, and then on the screen when I shake the phone, I still see the same rolling shutter effect, but you're not seeing it because it's going to apply all the information that it gathers from the gyroscope and accelerometer, and it's going to fix the rolling shutter issue it has. It's fantastic. And the same thing goes for the telelens at the back of the phone as well. I'm not talking about the times when it uses the regular lens with 2x zoom. I'm talking about the telelens without video stabilization. It has a rolling shutter problem like this. As soon as I turn on video stabilization, and now on the screen I'm seeing horrible rolling shutter, but in the video it is going to be fixed. So right now I am using the wide angle lens at 1080p with electronic image stabilization turned on, and if I run it should look really good. Another thing I like to mention is that S10 Plus doesn't support electronic image stabilization at 60 frames per second regardless of the resolution. So in 1080p or 4K, if you want to film in 60 frames per second, you can't use electronic image stabilization, which is pretty unfortunate if you think that even an iPhone 10 from 2017 has electronic image stabilization regardless of the resolution and the frame rate. The $300 GoPro has electronic image stabilization at 4K 60 frames per second and with just 10% crop, by the way. Now the problem is, when you want to shoot in 60 frames per second, doesn't matter if it is 4K or 1080p, you cannot use the other cameras. If you want to shoot in HDR10 Plus, once again, you cannot use the other cameras at the back of this phone. And I'm not saying you cannot switch between lenses. I am saying you can only use the 26mm lens with the variable aperture. The others are just disabled. Also, in 60 frames per second, video stabilization and HDR10 is disabled. Video tracking autofocus doesn't work in 1080p 60 frames per second and up. So if you want to use that, you have to use it in 1080p 30 frames per second, and when you turn it on, the video stabilization and HDR gets disabled. With the front-facing camera, if you want to shoot a video, you can only use the regular lens, but not the wide-angle one. But you can shoot up to 4K, which is fantastic. There are no surprises in low-light tests as well. S10 Plus clearly performs better than Note 9, but at some occasions both of them were kinda sluggish at focusing, and that 16% crop for image stabilization really makes things blurry when there isn't enough light. I was able to take pretty impressive photos with S10 Plus. I especially enjoyed the macro photos I can take using the 2x zoom on 26mm lens. I don't need an extra lens to get this close to this tiny flower. Now that's a pretty cool thing to have in your arsenal. The 123-degree wide-angle fixed focus lens does not have optic image stabilization and it is suffering from barrel distortion. But just like Face Unlock, Samsung once again is aware of this issue and offers you an in-app solution. Compared to the usual suspects, S10 Plus looks much better than Note 9, and it is not bad compared to iPhone XS and Pixel 3 XL either. However, I cannot help but wish Samsung to ditch the tint and sharpness they add to their photos and let me apply it if I wish to do so. This is like iPhone 4 all over again. As you can see here, the orange light bulbs look yellow. S10 Plus sadly also doesn't have the notification LED at top. So if you liked that feature, for example on Note 9, that's one of my favorite things, it is gone. I love the fact that you can use this phone and charge other devices wirelessly. All you have to do is tap wireless power share and it is on, and you can start charging whatever you want immediately. But do you wonder how good it is? I charged my iPhone 8 that had 35% battery in it, and this had 100% battery in it. In 2 hours, S10 Plus, which has 4100 mAh battery, was able to charge my iPhone 8, which has 1821 mAh battery, up to 95%, and that's when this got drained down to 30%, and 30% and below that it disables the wireless charging. It is very noble that this device sacrificed itself for greater good, so a better phone can live. One mildly interesting thing I realized is if you use Samsung's fast charger and connect it to the Pixel, Pixel thinks this is just charging. It's not fast. But if you connect Apple's 29, now 30-watt charger. It says charging rapidly. What's up, Google? Is this like a passive-aggressive revenge because Samsung made fun of you while you were revealing Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL? Samsung S10 Plus charged its battery from 10% to 100% while it was in airplane mode in 1 hour and 30 minutes using the charger that comes with it. When it comes to battery life, as far as I can see, Samsung S10 Plus can go all day long without any problems. During the tests I've been doing, at the end of the day, it had a little bit less, 2% less battery than my iPhone XS Max. Okay, for this part, I am very excited. Samsung changed their AR emojis and tried to make them less scary. Now, I tried this a little bit, but I didn't want to try it a lot. So we can experience this here together. So what you do is you hit AR emoji. These are, so it's not really it's not really standing. Let's go to this one and create our own AR emoji. So what you have to do is position your face in the center of the circle, then keep your lips closed and snap a selfie. Since the camera is on the side, it's not easy to center it. I want to give this a Jack Nicholson look. And then and then you define your gender and your sort of your age, I think. And then you hit next, creating my emoji. Once it's done, you can customize its hair, clothes, and accessories. Okay. And there it is. Hey, looks, tone, come on. What? That circle. Oh, nice placement, Samsung. What are you trying to say? And yeah, look at me. Ha 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 ha. I think it's tracking my eyes. It is better, a lot better than before, but still it is nowhere near the Animoji, but this is much better. Oh! I don't know. I look like a villain. Hey, you want that new Samsung phone? It's unlocked. When it comes to speaker quality, all of the phones, except Pixel 3, sounds great. Samsung S10 Plus has pretty impressive low ends, and as you can see in the EQ, it looks pretty balanced for a smartphone as well. Last year, my Note 9 came with these headphones, and honestly, these are pretty mediocre, okay, whatever, kind of headphones, especially if you like to listen to high quality music. They're not the best, but still, it is fantastic compared to what we get when we buy an iPhone. And this year, S10 Plus came with these. And here it is! Galaxy Buds comes in this box, to which my wife said, and I quote, "Why does this box look like the headphones that are sold at the gas station?" Inside the box we're greeted with some papers, different sized earpieces, USB-C cable, and the Galaxy Buds itself. It looks like it is inspired by AirPods, but at the same time it is not. It weighs twice the weight of AirPods, and Samsung says if the battery lasts longer than 6 hours, you should call your doctor. Leaving us with the question, are them buds any good? No, So it is very simple. You just open it up next to your device, and then there it is, my Galaxy Buds. You may remember this from somewhere. So if you want these to sound good, what you need to do is you go to your Galaxy wearable, and here make sure to set up your equalizer here, and then go to your settings, and under advanced sound settings, go here, turn on Dolby Atmos, and go to your equalizer, select rock or jazz, and then and only then these headphones sound okay. I don't know how to describe how these headphones sound other than saying they don't have the beef. And I'm not talking about the Beats headphones kind of beef. They're just not alive. But still, it came with the phone. I really want to be able to show you the difference. And for this, I'm gonna do something that is probably not gonna work, but I have my microphone directly in this box, and in this box we have both of the headphones. So I'm gonna go and then hit record. First, I like to show you what it sounds like in its regular settings, and I'm gonna hit play. Now, let's go to our settings and set this to soft, and then go to our audio settings. First, turn on Dolby Atmos and select rock. Now I'm gonna switch to AirPods. So of course the in-ear headphone is gonna sound quieter, but you get the point when I say it doesn't sound alive. In the end, after all these intense tests and comparisons, I can easily say that Samsung made a great phone. I really like the fact that they knew the weaknesses of their device and they did something to fix them before they release it. This is not a half-baked product. In Android world, whatever your needs are, there's an Android phone for that. If you like to take the best photos, there's an Android phone for that. If you want a giant battery, there's an Android phone for that too. If you want the best speakers, or maybe a selfie camera that just slides out of the phone, guess what? There's an Android phone for that too. But if you want an Android phone that is good at everything, I think S10 Plus is the one. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit that subscribe button. I must have a subscribe button somewhere here on the screen. Hit that subscribe button and play Ding Dong Ditch with the bell next to it. And join the world domination. And please let me know what you think about Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus in the comment section below. Charge me. Charge me now. Can I charge a Tesla with this? And until I see you the next time, take really good care of yourselves and hoşça kalın.